My camera is. Yeah.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Button Down Comedy, volume 25 of our quarantine comedy show. We've been doing this since the beginning of the quarantine, every other Friday. So 52 gives, or 25 gives us pretty much a year there. So, been a rough year. But we've been having a lot of fun. We've been making people laugh. Hopefully you guys will have a good time tonight. We have a great lineup for you tonight. Appreciate you coming. If you have not already, please follow us on any of the social medias of Button Down Comedy on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We have a show every other Friday. Please enjoy all of them. We have our previous ones also are on YouTube and on Facebook Live, so you can watch them and catch up on some of the ones you missed. We have a great lineup tonight, and we'll be getting into that. Also, these comedians have been going a year now. Very little, if any, live comedy. We're starting to see some of it come back now, but it's still very slow. And a lot of these comics, this is their livelihood. So if you like the show tonight, please drop a couple dollars into, we've got two ways for you to donate at paypal.me/BD comedy or on Cash App at $ Button Down Comedy. Toss up a couple bucks. Anything you do would definitely be appreciated. But first and foremost, we want you to laugh. So if you don't have any background noise, please unmute yourself. You can leave your video off if you want. We'd love to see your smiling faces, but we understand some people are uncomfortable with that, but we would definitely like to hear you laugh. So if you can, please unmute yourself and don't hold back. As comics, we basically need that feedback. It's our crack cocaine, we gotta have it. Gotta have it. And I tell you, it's been tough. I actually had the flu last year. Actually, this would have been about early January of 2020. I had the flu, slept through my birthday, 24 hours, just nonstop. Well, the one thing I got out of this, I got a joke. I got a just long, involved, act out, wonderful joke. I loved it. It was one of my favorite jokes. It was hitting, people were laughing, and it was about that 0.1% that Lysol doesn't kill of germs, and how this germ was just not gonna give up. All his friends, and of course, COVID hit. Didn't feel right doing that joke anymore. So I stopped doing that joke. But if I had known that my superpower was predicting a killer germ, I would have had a joke about a lottery a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I was sorry about COVID, guys. I really would have preferred the lottery. I really would. For everybody, hell, what a care. But yeah, it was definitely been a tough year. Now, I don't know about you guys, but being quarantined and at home, we've had to find some alternatives. And I don't know if anybody out there tried phone sex?
Woohoo!
Maybe you can help me. How do you get the condom on the phone? Apologize for the noise. I'm right near the street, and they love driving by really fast. And they got to get that loud muffler noise going on. All right, back to the phone. So yeah, condoms on the phone. Yeah, that's never easy. Especially now that the square phones, the small flip phones, that wouldn't have been a problem. No, the smartphones. I was actually having sex once, and this girl stopped right in the middle, grabbed her phone, and called her mom. I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "Mom always said I should call before coming." I I had somebody tell me I was fucking weird. I said, well, tell me what to do normal then. And I was once called a fucking prick. I said, that is the best kind. Really is. How many people like having music playing during sex? Round of applause.
Woohoo!
A little smooth jazz. Some
Oh,
blues,
yeah.
maybe. You know, you need to choose carefully. I had some hip hop playing. Some Pitbull came out. I blew out my knee.
Oh, yeah.
And as comics, we all know the rule of three. And for those of you who don't, the rule of three says that three of something is more desirable. I've been trying to convince my girlfriend of that. Has not worked out. A friend of mine told me I should date a runner. I said, eventually, they all do. Girlfriend told me, get your mind out of the gutter. I said, but that's what the rest of me is. It's a package deal. You ever had your partner say, I can't read your mind? Aren't you glad, guys, that they can't? Because if they could read our minds, we would have to duck all the time. And you know I'm right. I had a girlfriend once break up with me because I was dyslexic. Said I couldn't get the 69 right. How many of you remember when a hotspot was a nice place to be?
Oh, yeah.
And how many remember when meeting somebody on the internet was not a good thing?
Yeah.
Now, shit, that's the only way you meet people. And you notice that it took them 409 tries to get Formula 409 right. 57 tries to get Heinz 57 right. But A1 got it the first time. Something's up there. I don't know. I don't trust it. And you know the old wives' tale that if your left hand is itchy, you're going to get money. If your right hand is itchy, you got to pay money. Well, my right foot is itchy. Who's getting the ass kicking? They say that you can tell somebody's character by what they do when the shit hits the fan. Well, you know what? When the shit hits the fan, I'm going to clean. A friend of mine told me I was feeling down. He says, you should take a shower. So now I'm sad and wet. I never somebody tell you, man, this tastes like shit. How do they know? And 2020 was the year of the incel. I mean, that's all you heard about, incel. And 2021, also incel. However, this year it's 2 words. That one takes a second. Friend of mine's getting married. They're talking about having kids and they want to have one of each. I said, the current list is 29. That's a lot of kids. A lot of kids. I apologize if my set's a little off tonight. I had some edibles earlier and I'm not sure how strong they were. And you know, does anybody know how much they normally put in edible underwear? Was I the only one who was disappointed to find out that edible arrangements is just fruit? So if a CDB store starts to sell alcohol, would that make them an ABCDB store?
Yeah.
And why do they call it a drive-thru if they're going to get all bitchy when I do? My boss told me to treat every customer like your mother. I said, I think I'm going to need a bigger freezer.
Oh.
You know, as a white male, I have seen our social status diminish, our value in society diminish. That was no more evident when I saw the sign that said cracker 39 cents. Oh, come on. I'm not the only white male in here. Come on, that should be. As you get older, though, your eyes, they kind of start to go. But I realize that's a good thing because so does the body, and you don't want to see this shit. Oof. And this time of year, the sinuses always seem to fill up and back up. And oof. But when you blow your nose, is your eye supposed to whistle? And of course, they lifted the ban on the transgender in the military, which is a wonderful thing. But it does bring up a very big crisis. The grammar Nazis do not know is they is or they are.
Oh.
And there's been big strides made in artificial intelligence. Regretfully, there has been no progress in real intelligence. Yeah, they had the big campaigns that say no to drugs. The ones I talk to, those are the ones I want. My girlfriend, she gets upset when I use the N-word. So I just have to say yes to everything. She told me to never change, but then she gets upset by the smell. I'm going to end on this one. With COVID hopefully coming to the end, I'm looking forward to being able to see people's smiling faces, to be able to read their expressions, to be able to accidentally spit on them when I talk. All right, that is my time. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Now we have some really good comics for you. Our first comic comes from, she's an author and a comedian from Philadelphia. She has a novel, Smile and Walk Away, published by Champagne Books. Is available pretty much everywhere books are sold. I assume also online with the electronic books. She is the mother of 4 street cats and 0 humans. Please put your hands together for Danny Rydell.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you for having me tonight. It's a pleasure to be here. And it's an even greater pleasure that today is April 2nd, which is one of my favorite days of the entire year because it is the day that there is the longest time before April 1st happens again. I fucking hate April 1st. It's the one day of the year you're going to hear sane, intelligent people with morals use the phrase fake news. Thank goodness that shit's over. Oh my God. I really am looking forward to starting to do live comedy again. I want to be safe. I want to get vaccinated first. And I'm just so looking forward to that period. You know, as an artist, after that, I'll be entering my post-modernism phase. It's been a long year. It's been a long year because I'm sober. And no, seriously, I'm a recovering alcoholic. Although I don't like that term is so clinical. I prefer the more flattering term inactive lush. And man, yeah, it makes it fucking hard. Like I'm sitting here for a year now watching all of you discover the joys of day drinking for the first time. So please stop judging me for it now. Because I just want to share that, you know what one thing is that I never did while day drunk in like 13 years of being day drunk on, well, a daily basis, never once. Homeschool a fucking kid. Please, you guys, the worst thing I ever did while day drunk was cut in line at Trader Joe's and I felt really bad about it. No children were harmed. Like,
done and the same across all games for generation.
You know, it just everything drives me to drink. You know, it's just kind of how it is, and it's hard because you get so angry at just random things, and then you do stuff to try to comfort yourself, like go to the kitchen and look for your emotionally abusive ex-boyfriend Tito to be sitting on the counter waiting to comfort you, and he's not there. So then you run and turn on the TV and get just more angry at the first thing you ever fucking see on TV, like The Bachelor. Why is that a show? It's a game show about polyamory, and the grand prize is monogamy. There are better things on TV, though. The best day of television this year so far was actually January 6th, because I had a moment of great joy that day when I saw the pain on Mike Pence's face as he stabbed Donald Trump in the back. That's the closest Mike Pence will ever get to making a woman come. I miss a lot from the before times, like little things, like leaving the grocery store and fucking with the Girl Scouts in the foyer. Little fucking diabetes peddlers. I'm sorry, you little bitches, but I had to schlep that shit Willy Loman style door to door uphill both ways in the snow. Fuck you. You have the gall to tell me you do not accept Bitcoin. If you didn't get that, don't worry about it. Most people's understanding of Bitcoin is comparable to Ben Shapiro's understanding of the female orgasm. All you really need to know is, it's a volatile investment. Last week the price just sunk like the skin on Mitch McConnell's face, and today it just popped right back up like Donald Trump's penis when he sees poor people suffer. So, but I had to quit drinking and find other ways of coping, like making these hostage video diaries. It's 2020. Today is December 153rd. Oh God. But I've watched a lot of television, and one thing I regret watching is some of the old Disney movies from my childhood. Because you can't watch a Disney movie from like the 90s or earlier without just thinking, which princess is going to have which PTSD symptom when she's in her 30s? Their childhoods were fucked up. Like, why do we show this to children? Cinderella did not need a husband. She did not need a fairy godmother. No, she needed child protective services, for which a man with a foot fetish is a poor substitute. Snow White. Oh my God. Snow White's stepmother resorted to murder for hire. Do you think Snow White is not somewhat rare, like 35-year-old Snow White, is somewhere right now just crying her eyes out, like begging for parental approval and shit-faced on Angry Orchard? And then there's the consent issues with this stuff, right? I mean, like Sleeping Beauty, even worse. Oh my God. Remember the prince in this movie? He charges through this forest of thorns, cutting down all the branches to get through, to battle the fire-breathing dragon, to break into the enchanted castle, to not get consent. Dude, she has sleeping in her name. You just thought you were playing D&D on the way to a frat party, apparently, you fucking rapist. Like, this is for kids. Oh, and then I think the one Disney princess who might have had like a little bit of a healthy childhood was Ariel, the Little Mermaid. But she had her own separate set of issues, though. She was a hoarder, and she would collect all the garbage that she found that reminded her of the guy she had a crush on. And I think, hear me out, that this actually gets worse after the movie's over and she marries him and becomes human. Because, again, hear me out. The Little Mermaid becomes human, so she gets legs, right? Which means she also has a clit now. Well, I think she always did. I think like the mermaid clit, it's just, there's a scale and it's there. You've all seen the cartoons, the mermaid lore, where they follow the motorboats around like this, so. But Ariel's going to wake up one day and there's no scale there anymore. She's just like, Oh shit. So there's no way that there's not a room in Prince Eric's castle somewhere where she's just hoarding her vibrators now. Still singing about it, of course. Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Eric thinks that one massages my feet. I've got rabbits and dildos aplenty. I've got bullets and rockets galore. You want Hitachi wands? I've got 20. You know, she should send one of those to Melania Trump, help end some of the suffering, right? Ah, man, I do get angry easily, but AA meetings help me. That's what I call putting fresh batteries in my vibrator. The day I knew that I had to quit drinking, though, was I woke up one morning and my liver yelled at me. Started to get pissed off. Well, I made a Kentucky coffee, which is my favorite morning beverage. If you've never had one, it's really good. Try it. It's the recipe is a bottle of Maker's Mark with bendy straw in it. My liver is just like, bitch, it's 10 a.m. You know I have a day job, right? As an organ, I have a wife and kidneys to support. I'm not taking my whole lunch break to metabolize your breakfast whiskey. Oh, God. But it did, of course, because my liver is a total fucking badass. I swear it's got to be the reincarnation of the liver of either Hunter S. Thompson or Winston Churchill. There's no other possible explanation. All the crap I've thrown at it over the years. It's handled it like a freaking champ. Anyway, so Passover's almost over. And as you may or may not have noticed at some point tonight, if I have or have not turned to the side at any moment, I am in fact Jewish, despite my lack of a Jewish last name. I did change my name when I got married, since I elected to keep my natural nose instead of my maiden name. So. But no, my husband is great. I've even been told it's not good for my image as a comedian to be in a happy marriage. So I just usually call my husband my first husband. My first husband's a really cool guy. Like he actually wanted to celebrate Hanukkah the proper way with me last year because, you know, we're locked in the house. You need some cheering up. And I was like, all right, let's do it. I'll teach you all the stuff. I'll even teach you, the prayer we sing when we light our menorahs with our space lasers and stuff. And it'll be great. And I'm teaching it to him. And I got as far as Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech. And he goes, oh, awesome. It's in Klingon. Just an observation. I don't think there's any such thing as Karens. I think it's actually just a bunch of shiksa-bitches appropriating Jewish culture. Yeah, no, but I really, I've been trying so hard to stay sober successfully throughout all this. And I'm very proud to say that it's now been 2.5 years. Thank you. Since late 2019. Yeah, go ahead, do the math. I said what I said. Sobriety time accrued in 2020 earns double points, motherfuckers. My name is Danny Rydell. Give it up for your host. Thank you very much for having me. Have a great night.
Let's keep it going for Danny Rydell. Obviously a right-wing extremist, we can tell. Thanks, Danny. That was great. Want to keep the show going as I knock stuff off my desk here. Our next comedian is based in Chicago. She produces the Comedy Tub Showcase in Chicago, which will be reopening live at the Kinsey Inn on April 8th. She'll be appearing in the Drop Comedy Club in South Bend, Indiana. Please, let's give her a big welcome to Laura Hug.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. There it is. There's my big round face. I have really valued being able to continue to do comedy on Zoom, but the one thing that I am never used to is when the spotlight hits my face, and there I am. you know, with the face so big and so white and so round that wolves bay at it. So I'm forgetting to use my microphone, so I'm just gonna put it down. It's not. Danny was mentioning Passover, and I do, before the pandemic hit, I did some catering on the side, like private catering. And one of the families that I would go and work for was a Jewish family, and I would always serve their Passover meal. And I really like it. I'm from a small family. We're not, we don't have a lot of little kids running around. So they would have this big gathering at their house, and they would do all these little plays. They'd have these song books and prayer books, and these the kids would run around and search for this hidden matzah, and then grandpa would give them money for it. And it was just like, there was some singing. I mean, it was just so neat, and like stuff, and some of the service would be in Hebrew and some of it would be in English. And but there was always one part the father would always say at the beginning of the service that I really that I could understand, because he said it in English, and it went, "For the love of God, will you all sit down already? Quit running around. Shut up and sit down. You're going to give me a heart attack. Let's get this thing started." I didn't get to experience that this year. So, and also speaking of QAnon, and I'm dating a Jewish person, and I thought, I'm not into conspiracy theories, and I'm a liberal, but then I was like, I heard about these Jewish space lasers, and I was like, oh, I'm dating a Jewish person, and if I could get an in with these space lasers, help me keep this mustache down, I will switch parties, but turns out they're not real. So you liberals are lucky you still have me. And I'm still dating him, even though he can't, I just have him shave me. That's all. All right. I worked today before the show, and I work for a non-for-profit, and I answer to a board. And one of the board members communicates they are a we person. So I'll get an email from them that says, how do we feel about the new email system? I don't know how we feel. How do we feel? And then another message I got yesterday was, do we know if people are using the new email system? Well, it seems like if we knew that, we wouldn't be asking us, would we? And then today, the message I got was, we need to drop everything else we're doing on and make sure that everyone is using the new email system. And we thought we should go fuck ourselves. So, I don't know about this job. I'm not really using my degree. I mean, can't use what you don't have, so I don't have a college degree. I do have an extra year of high school. And I'm probably not using that either. So I was talking with my friend, she's a physical therapist. And I said, what's the thing you like the least about your job? And she said, I don't like the paperwork. And I'm like, I know what you mean. I do paperwork for a living, and I hate stretching out people's hamstrings. I shouldn't laugh at I can't, I think I'm glad that 2 or 3 other people find that funny besides me. This pandemic, what has sustained me during this pandemic is my spiritual practice is a big part of it. I pray and meditate every day. I do pray. I do believe in God. I get my belief in God like the rest of my family, from 12-step programs. Not unlike a large portion of the bill on this show tonight. I'll just say what's going on there, but one of us will be qualified to sign a meeting sheet is all I'm saying. I will sign autographs and your meeting sheet after the show. Okay, inside joke. Yeah, but we do pray though. You know, we don't pray before we eat, but we do pray when we think it'll get us our driver's licenses back. So, which, you know, God knows are the only sincere prayers, that and when you think you're pregnant.
Jesus.
You know, before the pandemic, I actually started attending a church. That was never my intention. I thought I'd be dead by now, you know. Whoops. Yeah, nobody was more disappointed than I was to have to continue to develop some sort of interior life, you know. But I mean, they warn you about dying young. What they don't warn you about is not dying young. Am I right? Where's my fucking pamphlet on that? I'm trying to write a pamphlet on it. So far, the only item on the pamphlet is don't throw away your birth certificate. That's all I got. You know, I did it and it is hard to replace. I got it replaced, but anyway, yeah, so I did start going to this church because there wasn't enough singing in my meetings about the miracle of getting off of probation. So I found this non-denominational Christian church, but it's very inclusive. It's very LGBTQ friendly. And I like to put that right up top so that I don't get attacked for my beliefs by all my open-minded friends. So, you know, yeah, I've never had a church, and I don't know why anybody wouldn't want gay people at their church. Because in my church, the lesbians are the only ones who wear neckties. So, even the pastor wears a zip-up hoodie, but that's just so she can breastfeed during the sermon. Before the pandemic, the last time I attended the church in person, I wore leopard print. As I was leaving, my roommate said, "Do you think that Jesus would approve of leopard print?" I'm like, I don't know. There were 2 cougars on the ark, you know. I don't know a lot about the Bible. I do know that that's 2 different books, and I don't know if Jesus read the first one. He might have picked a different religion, but might have been Buddhist, you know. But yeah, so, you know, but it's fine, whatever. I don't know exactly what I think God is, but here's what I hope God is not. I don't like the concept of God as the Father. It's not because I have a problem with God being male. I just didn't want to go into the afterlife being raised by another single parent. You know, it wasn't that fun, and I had hoped heaven would hold more for me than me cooking myself a lot of toast. So, yeah. So, but I tap into that, and then I meditate, and that really helps my mind. I have this racing mind. The Buddhists call the racing mind the monkey mind, and I have a monkey mind. The monkey mind because it chatters constantly. My monkey mind, you know, I have it, it chatters constantly. And also I throw my feces. So it really helps on a lot of levels. The other thing I do is that I have exercised. I've managed to keep weight off during the pandemic, which I feel really fortunate for. I thank you. I do, you know, now do with fitness what in my youth I did with crystal meth. The weight loss results are admittedly slower with fitness, but there is less chance of me digging out a homemade basement in my 2nd floor apartment. You know, I feel like it's worth it. And so do my neighbors, Ben and Tina I also, and then, I like that. That's helped too. That's something like I said, later in life, I started exercising. I wish I would have done it earlier because when I exercise, I know I feel a burn. I don't know if I'm building something or breaking it. Not unlike when I did crystal meth, but, I do, sometimes I use video. I do all kinds of stuff now. I do yoga, I do aerobics, and then sometimes I'll just keep it simple. I'll put on some music and do a jailhouse workout, which is, in a small space, right? So I just do some sit-ups, some jumping jacks, and some push-ups, and then I shank my roommate. So, and it makes me feel, that helps. And then the other thing is just, getting ready like I would, even when I was working from home, like I try to get ready. I try to put on my makeup. I like a lot of makeup. I've always worn a lot of makeup since I was a baby. I do not feel attractive unless I look like a birthday cake at a horse party, so I'm sorry, an empowered sex workers party. And and then I get dressed. I'll pick out something to wear. I got a closet full of clothes I'm not using. So my favorite pieces, I usually grab something from the Kardashian collection. They were my favorites. A lot of leopard print, a lot of clothes that make you look like a lion tamer when you're trying to get a job out there. Anyway, there's one suit they made. Maybe it's because I brought a whip, but anyway, to the job interview. But the Kardashians, or if you remember, I hope you got some of their pieces before all the Sears went out of business. Nothing says classy like a store, where you can buy your clothes and your farm implements all in one trip, But they were important fashion designers because they really know the customer. They know their customer. Everything in their collection was made out of bathing suit material because they know the woman they designed for could get hosed down at any minute. So that's helped, and then what else? And then I like I said, I go to work, and I also started dating the person I'm dating during the pandemic, and that's helped me try to, stay spruced up in a lot of ways. Like I've tried to get my cooking game, a little bit, do a little better with that. Like the other day, my roommate farted and it smelled so delicious. I was like, oh my God, Jackie, what did you eat? I have to get the recipe, So that'll be nice for him on his next visit. And then also I try to keep my house clean. Also, we're on Zoom so you guys can see the background. And, I have the hoarder tendencies, but I don't watch hoarders to inspire me to keep my house clean. I watch true crime shows because whenever they go into a murder victim's home and it's messy, that disturbs me more than the actual murder. And I just think like, hey, if I got murdered, I don't want them to come into my house and the police look around and go, well, we don't know who killed her, but the real mystery is, what was she going to do with all these tins of buttons? There's not a sewing machine. There's no button art on the wall. I don't know. I don't mind getting murdered, but I don't want to look like a fool, So I will, I'll just leave you on this. I am excited. Things are opening up. I was recently, got the vaccine, the first vaccine, and tomorrow I'm getting the second one. And I was fortunate enough to get it, in the 1B group because I'm an essential worker, despite what my boss says. And thank you for your sympathy. I'm glad because I'm like, I feel sorry for myself. So it's nice to have company. But no, I'm kidding. But I feel grateful. But I did, I went to get the vaccine, and as I have mentioned in various passive aggressive ways in my set, I used to use drugs, and I don't use drugs anymore. But when they came to me and they had that hypodermic needle, with the vaccine in it, I had this fleeting thought of like, I wonder if they'd let me inject it myself, just for old time's sake, just to see if I still got the touch, like, but I didn't ask them because they seem like a bunch of squares, All right, that's it for me. Thank you so much.
Keep it going for Laura. Hug. Seems to be a Jewish theme tonight. My ex was Jewish, so and I was Catholic, which meant my two daughters were Juliks. One Thanksgiving, grace is always the big thing. Who wants to say the prayer before you eat? So my father's asking who wants to say grace. My daughter, who had never been to the Thanksgiving, with my family, said, "Oh, I'll do it." And so, okay, go ahead. She goes, "Grace." Or she did. That's what. Yeah. So he said, "Who's going to do grace?" She didn't know. Our next comedian comes to us from Chicago. Also, right? You're in Chicago now, right?
Atlanta at present.
Atlanta. I'm sorry. He's actually down the street from me. I'm in North Carolina. So our next comic has performed at the Blue Whale Festival in Tulsa, Burbank Comedy Festival, and has opened for Mitch Hedberg and Sarah Silverman. Please welcome to the stage, Josh Donato.
Woo!
Sure.
Josh
Yeah.
D. Donato. Boy.
Oh, okay. I was like, who's this
Josh
Josh
D.
Donato
Donato.
fella? All right. Thank you, George. I guess I should thank you, George. Wag, is it?
No, just Ner. Just Ner.
George Ner, everybody. Geo Ner. Joe Ner. All right. Off to a great start already. Well, that's my time. Thank you. Good night. No, there's it's Zoom. We're dealing with all manner of technical things, and I'm glad to still be able to tell jokes. I've done tons of Zoom comedy, hundreds of sets, and this is what I've learned about Zoom comedy. The difference between killing in a Zoom comedy show and bombing in a Zoom comedy show is almost indistinguishable. I have no idea how it's going. It's all miserable. Thank you for having me, George. Can't wait to get back to performing, and I just got the vaccine this Monday, first dose of the Pfizer, and in about 3 weeks I'll get the next one, and I cannot wait to get back to worrying about getting cancer. Get our priorities straight here. But it is I do want to also perform for people. I miss just like being in a packed room, and there's just nothing like a packed comedy club. Sometimes if you're in a crowded bar or club and you say to somebody, "Hey, is it cool if I sit here?" Sometimes people will say, "Go ahead, it's a free country." Right? And I was thinking, I wonder if, when you go to other places, if there's an equivalent phrase, like if you're in a bar in North Korea or something, you're like, "Hey, is it cool if I sit here?" If people say, "Go ahead, it's a dictatorship. Nobody cares what you do." We'll probably all be murdered in our sleep one day. So take a load off, relax for now. We were actually pretty close, I think, to having to retire that phrase. It's a free country, right? Or it was, we'd have to change it. It'd be like, it's a free country if you're white and male and Christian and heterosexual. Not as catchy as the original. We've all got pet peeves. I'll tell you one of mine is when people don't know what a pet peeve is. You talk to some people and they'll say, you know what my pet peeve is? Racism. It's like, no, a pet peeve is something that just bugs you and not for a good reason. It can be something that's universally agreed to be a terrible thing. You know what my pet peeve is? Cold-blooded murder. When I'm in Starbucks and someone just like stabs the person in front of me to death, it's like, really? You're really doing that right now? Can't you go outside? Being so annoying. You just literally got blood on my phone. Okay. I figured out all of my pet peeves are verbal. Like I really don't generally care what people do. It's just the stuff that people say that drives me crazy. You know, like you know, when people say it goes without saying. You don't need to say that. Not ever. I was with my best friend hanging out and he said, oh, well, it's 10:30. It goes without saying. We should probably get some dinner. Well, yeah, it could have gone without saying, but then you said it. So no, it's going with saying. I feel like if you find yourself saying it goes without saying a lot, you should probably just go without saying anything to me for a while. I would like to clear up something. There seems to be a fair amount of confusion these days about what the word random means. So I will have you know, the word random means one thing, chosen arbitrarily. That's it. Random doesn't mean so many things that people seem to think it means. Random doesn't mean weird, guys. Oh my God, that movie was so random. No, it wasn't a series of flashing images. Had the same characters in the beginning, middle, and end. Not random. Random doesn't mean generic or unimportant to me. Oh my God, Maggie hooked up with some random guy at the party. No, I don't think that he was chosen at random. I think he was probably in the top 50th percentile of attractiveness at the party. And your friend was in the lower 30th percentile of awareness. Random doesn't mean unexpectedly. I heard a comic once on stage say, oh, I got baked at my house and then my dad just stopped by randomly. So your dad was just walking through your neighborhood aimlessly, had no idea he was in your neighborhood, and just thought, I feel like knocking on a door. Oh, here's one. Wow, it's my son! You're high! What's going on? And finally, random does not mean intermittently, once in a while. A friend of mine really said this to me. She said, oh, I just smoke randomly here and there. So you just close your eyes and wrap your lips around things? And sometimes it's a cigarette? Be careful, you're gonna get hurt or pregnant. Okay, I don't know how pregnancy works, it's true. All right. George mentioned this earlier and it's kind of struck a nerve with me. I will admit that I have been called a grammar Nazi a few times, which is confusing because I am a Jewish. And, I mean, hey, you want to call me a grammar snob? Go right ahead. Grammar pest even? I'll take it. But Nazi? I don't know. Am I incinerating your ancestors with my tut-tutting about prepositions? I don't feel like I am. And Nazi, by the way, not currently a theoretical or historical term. We have Nazis in this country right now, right? They've got tiki torches, and some of them recently took a trip to the Capitol. If you are looking for people to call Nazis, there is not a Nazi dearth at present. There's a Nazi surplus. So, yeah. They say that knowing is half the battle, but they often fail to mention that the other half of the battle is battling. So, just I'm not a combat person, So it almost makes me want to not know things. Apparently once you know something, you're already halfway into a battle. And it's like, no, I choose ignorance. Okay. Things are starting to open up a bit more, and I want to get back to regular life, still cautious. A friend of mine here in Atlanta is putting together a small gathering, 10 people, which isn't a lot, but it's inside, and I just feel like outside is just so clearly more safe. It's a seance he's putting on, and I just so I just feel like I'm not ready, and so I told my friend that I would not be able to make it to his seance, but that I'd be there in spirit. And, one thing I don't, I miss going out. Pardon me. I miss going out, with friends to eat and stuff. One thing I don't miss is when you go out with a bunch of friends, and then the check comes and everybody's figuring out what they owe, and you get that one friend who says, "Oh, I only have a 20." Like, oh, what a shame. If only there was somebody nearby at a counter with a box full of different denominations of dollars for which we could exchange that 20. But I guess no such luck. And then still that same friend will sometimes say like, "Oh, I only have 100." And it's like, "Oh, you poor thing with your $100. I couldn't possibly let you pay for your own meal. What kind of monster would I be?" I did just move out here to Atlanta from LA. I had 4 big pods storage containers dragged across the country, and in the last couple of weeks they got here and loaded all the stuff into my new place. I had a storage unit in LA, so it's all the stuff from my place in LA and my storage unit, and I got a new storage unit here. And you may be thinking 4 pods containers? That seems like a lot of stuff, Josh. And you would be right. I'd say maybe 50 years worth of stuff. Not a real big thrower awayer. We've had some of the other comics here talk about this. I may be on the hoarding spectrum. And it's interesting because I've been going through boxes to see what goes into the new storage unit. And I found this really cool thing, this box of memo pads. I use this brand of memo pads, Field Notes, but they have different designs and stuff, and I subscribe to them. But a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I bought a box of like 50 state county fair notebooks, so one for each state, and I couldn't find it for the last 8 years. I found this box of 50 awesome notebooks, and which is it's a little tricky if you're somebody like me, because it's what I like to call finding hoarder's gold, because once I found it, I was like, aha, I've been vindicated. I was right to never throw away a single thing in my life. Because I mean, $180 a month for the last 10 years, totally worth it. Look at these cool notebooks. Okay. I'm just saying, it's when you find hoarder's gold, it's hard to recover from your hoarderism. Hoarderism. Yeah, it's been it's been a lot moving here. And then, I bought a place here and in Chicago, which is why George thought I might have been in Chicago. I'm going to Chicago in the next week. And it's just trying to juggle a lot of stuff, a bit, just kind of overwhelmed, and everybody's saying, take a break, chill out for a sec. So everybody's saying, watch the Cobra Kai show on Netflix. It's, fun, light entertainment. I got maybe like 2 episodes in, and I was a little underwhelmed, and then I was thinking, like, nobody ever talks about being whelmed, which I think that's what I want to shoot for in life. Somebody asks me how I'm doing and just instinctively say, I'm whelmed. I'm just like right down the middle, I'd also like to be thought of as corrigible at some point. That Josh DiDonato, he really can be corriged. And if I am ever able to gain employment again, which could happen, I'm if I'm in that job for a while and I end up leaving, I hope it's amicable, and I hope that people think of me as a gruntled employee. I see there's a lot of women on here, maybe a couple of, I guess we're showing on Facebook too. So I'm wondering if any of the guys watching will relate to this, because I think I'm becoming my dad, right? Because I've noticed that I've started to impregnate women and vanish without being responsible for the baby. What can I say? That's how the old man didn't raise me. That is the exact manner in which the old man did not raise me. Yeah. All right. Well, that joke took 35 years to write. I was hoping for a little more there, but I didn't have any brothers or sisters growing up, and it's weird because you run into people ask you about brothers and sisters and you say no, and they're like, oh, so you're an only child, which just so you know is kind of not cool. It's not the preferred nomenclature. We prefer to be called solo Americans, and so you didn't know before and now you do, so it's just kind of not cool. So my mother was a perfect, beautiful angel who had sex one time, and your mother was some kind of deranged sex pervert who had sex 2 or 3 or even more times. And that makes me a bad and selfish person. Okay, yeah, right. Yeah, so I'll put a link in the chat. I am a member of the National Association for the Advancement of Solo Americans, or NASA. Follow them on all the social media. Yeah, I am just really into words, and it's like maybe to an unhealthy extent. It's and I know you're like, that's so groundbreaking, a stand-up comedian who enjoys words, but it goes further than that. It's like I get upset, as I've mentioned before, about like just how much people don't care about words. I feel like a lot of people think about words in the same way that I think about cars, because like, okay, so I own a car, driven a car thousands of miles. You need a car, right? But I don't know how a car works, at all. And I'm not especially interested in learning. It might be kind of neat, but it's not like a priority for me. And yeah, I mean, seriously, I just do not. I mean, like, if something goes wrong with my car, okay, I just have to have $1,500 handy. You know what I mean? Because if I take my car to the mechanic, I have no way of knowing if whatever they say is true. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you're never going to hear me at a mechanic saying like, yeah, I know it's not the alternator. Okay, pal. You know? And so I think a lot of people treat words that way. You know, you need words to coexist, to function, to get around. And so many people use words, but don't know how they work and don't care. You know, I mean, that's the only explanation for grown adults whose only language is English and who don't have a learning disability. You know, they're not foreign, they're not dyslexic. This is not, you know, all those people get, you know, all the breaks. But if your only language is English and you went to school and you're in your 20s or 30s or more, and you refuse to make the distinction between your and your, like, that's a you problem. It's not like, oh, I can't learn that. No, you just don't care. You know what I mean? It's like people just write the wrong one. And if you correct them, they're like, oh, yeah, whatever. And it's like, that just drives me crazy. And, you know, just words get abused so much. And they just have to sit there and take it. You know what I mean? I mean, there's so many words that just, you know, like random, you know, gets misused all the time. And, you know, just words like freedom, you know, like freedom has gotten dragged into this mess. You know, it's like freedom, people, you know, people are talking about freedom, you know, to not wear masks. And like, if freedom, the word, could talk, they'd be like, no, that's not what I am. Not putting something on your face to prevent disease. That's, no, stop saying me. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just, I'm just admitting I'm too into words, and I'm just gonna say it. Sometimes, you know, sometimes I wish I could fuck words.
Jesus.
There's just some sexy words out there. I mean, there's just some hot ass words that are just too fun to say. You know what I mean? Squalor? Are you kidding me? Come on. You know? Discombobulated? Discombobulate. It's just fun to say. You know? Fungible? I don't know. I mean, if you're not a little tempted, you know? And I mean, I don't know. Maybe I could figure out a way to fuck some words. You know, I don't. You know, you could go to the arts and crafts place and, you know, get some foam, spell out, you know, squalor in foam. You know, stick my dick in the cue hole. I could probably do it. You know. Incidentally, sticking my dick in the cue hole is also what I call when I make love to a conspiracy theorist. Yeah. Great Super Bowl this year. It was pretty exciting. Well, I mean, not the football one. When I say Super Bowl, I'm talking about my own personal Super Bowl, which was the second impeachment trial, which you know, but you know, the only thing with this as opposed to the other Super Bowl is that I knew that my side was going to lose ahead of time, but still lost money in Vegas. Never bet the over on Republican convictions in the Senate. But yeah, I watched that. I watched the shit out of that, and you know, there's a lot of new footage, and you know, a lot of the same footage that we saw. There's this one part that I must have seen 100 times of Trump's speech before he before they went and stormed the place, and it just kept sticking out to me. I couldn't put my finger on it, and I realized after really like maybe 100 times that for this one moment, Donald Trump just goes into a Jerry Lewis impression. And I'll do the part of the speech. If you've seen 5 minutes on January 6th, you've probably seen this bit of this speech. So Donald Trump says, so we're going to walk down to the Capitol. I'm like, he's doing Jerry Lewis. Like, go to the Capitol and you just don't count the Electoral College vote. This you lady, you shouldn't hit the cop with the hockey stick. Mike Pence, don't betray me. I wonder if Donald Trump is just doing Jerry Lewis this whole time, if he might have been more bearable, you know? Like, you shouldn't let the nice black people vote, and then you should, if you're famous, and then you can touch the ladies' privates, and then you take the babies and you put them in a cage. It probably wouldn't have been that much better, I guess. But yeah, you know what really gets to me is, you know, that shirtless Viking guy. That shirtless Viking guy is now more famous than me. That just really turns me up. And if I find out that guy does stand up, I will lose my shit. He's for sure gonna get booked. Yeah, it was wild watching Trump's lawyers. Were just so awful. I mean, I think it was a troll. I think Trump knew there was no way he was going to get convicted, and is also famous for not liking to pay his bills. So he was just like, just get like a $50 guy out of the yellow pages, you know? And like, and both of his main lawyers arguing on the floor of the Senate, personal injury attorneys. They literally are guys that you would just get from Yelp, you know? And that one guy, was it Bruce Castor, I think was his name? It was so awful, was just flailing. And he looked like somebody who'd just been like pushed out on stage and told to host an open mic. He was just doing crowd work. He was like, oh, hey, it's my representatives from Pennsylvania. All right. Pennsylvania in the House. And then he was like, so senators are really extraordinary people. They're all extraordinary people. These are things he actually said. And then he was like, I'm going to close with a poem. He closed with a poem. Like, he could have just been like, just going to play a quick John Mayer tune. Let me get the tuning right. And it's amazing to me. I can't, I just keep being amazed by all this stuff. They're there, the attack is happening, and this Donald Trump calls this Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville, and Tommy Tuberville tells him, they just took Mike Pence out, like, to hide him away. And people are, walking through the halls of the Capitol screaming, hang Mike Pence. And Donald Trump, when he's told this by, Tommy Tuberville, he's like, yeah, but can you maybe hold off on the counting of the votes? It's just like, Donald Trump left Mike Pence to die in the Capitol. And it's just like, that just blows my mind. And I'm just like thinking about this. And then I realize, wait a minute, why am I rooting for Mike Pence? Like, he's just an evil piece of cardboard. Why do I care more about Mike Pence than Ted Cruz does? And and the thing is, if they had hung him, there still would have been over 100 Republicans in the House who would have voted to overturn the election. Still, it would have changed a few votes, but and I love hearing Republican excuses. I'm sure there would have been a Republican out there that same night who would have said Mike Pence, who's still hanging out in front of the Capitol. They haven't cut him down yet. But I think he would have wanted us to question these results. Yeah, but so we're done with that. Oh, well, we're not done with that, but we've got a new guy. That's, which is good. I watched the inauguration, and Lady Gags sang the opening theme song for America. And by the way, when I say Lady Gags, I'm personal friends with Lady Gaga. We went to Hebrew school together, so it's just not knocking her. She's a great gal, but yeah, there's this one part of the Star Spangled Banner that I never really got. Where's this line where it says, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air. And now, okay, so I'm no bombing expert, but I feel like the ground is where you're gonna want the bombs to be bursting. You know what I mean? I feel like if they're bursting in air, that is an unsuccessful bombing run, not to bomb shame, but I don't know. Maybe the original line kind of made more sense. It just didn't fit as well, just like, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs hitting and killing the British scumbags. But doesn't flow as well. Donald Trump, I guess, is threatening to start a new social media platform, not just a website, but like a whole platform that like millions of people are going to use, which I don't know if I predict that that's going to really happen, because, starting a whole new social media platform would take hard work and competence, which we have not seen from him just yet. I think if he's smart, his main thing is he wants to bilk the suckers, like he's made over $250 million since the election off of his supporters, right? And so, he just wants to profiteer. I think he should just, if he's smart, he'll just go with like an existing infrastructure. He should just get an OnlyFans account. I'm sure he could find 20 million people to fork over $100 a month, and it just, instead of dick pics, he just stream that hot hate that they've grown to love. Yeah, it's weird. Being a white person who wants to do something about white supremacy, which maybe sounds weird, but it's actually up to the white people to do something about white supremacy more than the non-white people, just in case you want to know. That's not part of the joke, that's just true. But they've picked up more leaders of the Proud Boys, which is a hate group, for their part in planning the attack on January 6th. And, something that a phrase that white supremacists will use to kind of, clean up what they're all about is they talk about white pride, and I don't know. And let me just say, white supremacy is not new. I didn't just discover it, and it's not, it's been with us since before the founding of this country. But I've been politically active before, but it's more and more obvious that, that really needs to be dealt with. And so, I can't be on the sidelines anymore. And so I've decided that I'm starting the white shame movement. And to counteract the Proud Boys, I'm starting a love group. We're calling ourselves the Ashamed Lads. And so working on the GoFundMe right now. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff that we have to answer for as white people, slavery, the Dave Matthews Band, people using astrology as a basis for their decision making. So many atrocities. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so yeah, I guess the war on terror is over. Wait, because we don't talk about it anymore. So I think we won that one. And when I say the war on terror, I mean brown people. Domestic terror by white people doesn't count. Doesn't count. Put that out of your mind. The war on drugs, I'm sure we won because you never hear about that. Again, do not think about prescription drugs and the opioid crisis. That doesn't count. Okay. Anyway, I do think it's time we got a groovy new abstract war going. You know what I mean? I've got some ideas. I think we should declare a war on violence. It'd be great if we could just bomb away all the violence.
Yeah.
Or how about a war on yuckiness? Oh, not with me, are you? Well, you're not with me in the war on yuckiness. Yuckiness wins. You know, actually, I do. There is one thing that I do. This is going to be tough, but I do think that we should, in this country, that we should declare a war on guns. You know, and you know that may not be popular, but and well, also something about the war on guns that's a bit tricky is we're going to have to fight it with knives. So we will lose that one, but you know, I think it would be a noble cause. You know, what really kind of burns me is that vagina owners have fewer rights than gun owners in this country. That's not a hot take. I think that's pretty provable, you know. Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, not a fan. I'm a staunch supporter of vagina owners over gun owners and vaginas over guns while we're at it. You know, I mean, you know, they're just responsible for so much more pleasure. And statistically, all of you, if you're not a test tube baby. So, and hey, I'm not saying there aren't dangerous vaginas out there. There are, you know, but a vagina can only fuck up one person at a time. You know what I mean? It can only ruin one life at a time, you know. Maybe two in a very specific situation. You know? You know, but there just aren't vaginas that are designed to fuck up 100 people at once, you know. Not so with guns. So I think I've got an idea, and we've got some gals here. I'm always trying to help. If you gals can figure out a way to somehow surgically implant a gun down there, boom, you got a whole bunch of new rights, right? Congratulations, you're a gun owner. You're like a real citizen in this country. You know, I'm sorry. Boom probably isn't the right word there. You really don't want that thing going off. But, and you know, and I don't claim to know, you know, how to do that. You know, I'm not a vagina gun scientist or gynecologist, I guess you'd call it. But I think it would help cut down on sexual assault a fair amount, right? You put your hand down there when it's not wanted, you could lose a hand, son. You just got finger banged. Yeah, I'm not terribly interested in pornography, which you can probably tell from how I say the word pornography. But there's a, I guess there's a new category of porn that seems intriguing to me. What it is they have men and women, and men and men, and women and women, but all the people having sex in these videos just became American citizens that day. It's called Barely Legal. And
Aw.
I guess that's like a fetish for some people, you know, that fresh new Americanness is a turn on. Gosh, you know what? All right. I'm gonna do one more thing here. Is that are we good, George?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. All right. I have this on my, okay, I have to read off of this thing because it's on my computer, and I'm very excited. Any baseball fans here?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. One person guy. It's cool. No, whatever. I don't care. I love baseball. And it's, you know, it was opening day was yesterday. Yeah. So and I'm a Dodger fan, and I'm pretty excited. And there's actually I have an audition, so I kind of want to practice this audition, if that's all right with you, to be a sort of fan correspondent for ESPN, going over stats and stuff as a promotion. And so, but you have to, so I had to write a day's worth of baseball scores, just make up some scores, because it's interesting, like, you know, if you follow baseball or any sport, when they're reading all the scores, there's just a limited number of ways that you can refer to the outcome of a game. You can't just say, the Mets beat the Giants 2-1. The Phillies beat the Pirates 3-1. You know what I mean? So that you have to kind of spice it up a little bit. And a lot of sports writers, I have found, tend to use really violent imagery, you know, just like crushed or destroyed or killed, you know, and it's just, I have kind of a different sports writing style. So I'm just going to read you a day's worth of scores here. So hopefully this will work when I do the audition next week. Okay, here are the games from today. The Dodgers sodomized the Giants 10-1. The Braves dry humped the Cubs 3-2. The Brewers dick teased the Mets 12-11. The Rangers fingered the Astros 1-0. Not a great game, right? Okay. The Indians Cleveland steamed the Orioles 13-2. The Pirates went tantric with the Phillies 10-9 in a 19-inning win.
Oh.
The Tigers jacked off into the White Sox 7-2. The Padres molested the Twins 8-0. It actually sounds like a different news story. Okay.
Oh,
The Mariners golden showered the Marlins 5-0 in a 2-hour rain delay. The Athletics went down on the Angels' girlfriends, even though they swore so many times that they weren't attracted to them, 12-2. The Cardinals came on the Rockies' tits, 8-7. The Nationals gave the Blue Jays chlamydia, 9-0. The Reds did the Diamondbacks doggy style in a come-from-behind victory, 6-5. The Royals won the game against the Rays, 15-1. It was a good old-fashioned fisting. And finally, the Red Sox were on their period, but still decided to fuck the Yankees 7-0. All right, hope I get the gig. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, let's keep it going for Josh DiDonato. Hey, Josh, I've done a lot of the you know, the Comic-Con type things, and I do have some sources for some really washable foam for you.
You noted.
So I want to thank everybody for coming. If you had a good time, please come to come to future ones. Spread the word to friends. We'd love to have larger audiences for our comics because more laughs makes it a lot more fun. If you enjoyed the show, you can donate at paypal.me/BD comedy or Cash App Button Down Comedy. Everybody have a wonderful evening, and let's give it up again for our comics. Danny Rydell, Laura Huck, and Josh DiDonato.
Ooh,
Give it up for George
George.
Wagner.
yeah, George Wagner, Geo Wagner, woo!
All righty. Thanks, everybody. And you guys have a wonderful night and drive safe.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just got it. Uh-oh. Oh boy.